Welcome back inside the secret Gibby headquarters for another edition of Gibby's Football Podcast. A big episode of the podcast this week. We are only a couple of days out from the big game and or the Super Bowl happening this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. We had a panel show planned for today. It was going to be initially, I was initially going to be joined by Steve Bunda, but if you have been following along with the local news going on in Ottawa, unfortunately, Bunda has to deal with some stuff with his mom in terms of a fraudulent company that's taking advantage of a bunch of people. And so Bunda is not available for this show today. I'll leave a link into the GoFundMe for people that want to support. That's the official reason for Bunda. The real reason is because he found out that this man was beyond the panel with us. Mathew Reisler returns to the show to talk about the Super Bowl / the big game. Reisler, how are you doing today, my friend?
Just like Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, Bunda and I are mortal enemies.
That's right.
Bunda, of course, is the tribal chief.
Yeah.
And I am just the lowly Canadian Montrealer with a patchy beard, Sami Zayn.
That's right. That's right.
And Bunda just doesn't like me.
Yeah,
which isn't true. Bunda's the best.
Oh, Bunda's fantastic. No, he's a tremendous dude, and obviously wishing the best and his mom Bonnie as well. All the best in getting that situation resolved. Just it stinks, man. Just reading through it. And so, again, I'll have a link to the GoFundMe on the description for this podcast if people want to go and support Bunda and read more about the story. But CTV News Ottawa did a very good breakdown of it as well. But nonetheless, just a bad story there. But hey, Reisler, you're joining me. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to preview it today. It's a big game, the term that a lot of people like to use so that the NFL overlords don't break into our houses or apartments or whatever and arrest us on site.
I believe it is the big game, not right. It is the
big game. That's right.
The biggest game of all time in America, trademark.
In 2023.
Yeah,
so,
TM.
Exactly. And now we own that. So we will hunt you down if you use that trademark now.
Roger Goodell, watch your butt.
Exactly. Watch it, Roger. We're on to you.
Have a mirror behind your head to watch your butt because
exactly.
We're coming for it.
We're coming for it. Yes, exactly. Nonetheless, big Super Bowl coming up Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We went through a bunch of the playoffs, and you can listen back to a bunch of the episodes in each round. You can hear me collapse in real time to Brett Maher missing 4 field goals, and also the final play from the Dallas Cowboys against the San Francisco 49ers. No, I'm not repeating myself from last year. That happened again. And it led to Kellen Moore being let go from the Cowboys staff, and Mike McCarthy's now calling the plays. But to say that I'm ecstatic for the upcoming season may be overstatement. But we're continuing on. Do I feel good that a divisional rival to the Dallas Cowboys is in the Super Bowl once again, the Philadelphia Eagles?
How great is that?
Oh, just tremendous. I just feel fantastic. Cool. And, especially the Eagles too. Like I could tolerate the Giants. I could even tolerate the commies, the Washington Commanders. But
I was going to say Soviet Russia?
No, not those commies. No.
What the hell?
Don't clip that.
Where is this going?
Don't clip that.
Do clip that.
No, please don't clip that. I am not a supporter of the commies, the Washington football team, I should say. But worst of all, it's the Philadelphia Eagles that are in the Super Bowl this year. And I guess we'll just kind of start there in our Super Bowl preview, just looking at this Eagles squad, just so that we can get the bad stuff out of the way. They're kind of like Buckley's. They're awful, but they're also a fantastic team. They are obviously the best team in the NFC after winning the NFC Championship, and I think a lot of people would agree with that statement even before then. And here they are. They're back in the Super Bowl only a couple of years after Doug Peterson and Nick Foles led them to a Super Bowl. And I got to say, Reisler, I say this again begrudgingly because, Philadelphia stinks. But in terms of the city and their fans, I'm not afraid to say that. But in terms of the actual team itself, this is a much more skilled team than the Doug Peterson-led squad that went and won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady only a couple of years ago.
Certainly. I mean, the one thing they have going for them, and it's the most obvious thing, is they have their starting quarterback. They have their number one choice under center. Of course, you remember years ago, it was Nick Foles filling in for Carson Wentz, and they won, and Nick Foles played great filling in for Carson Wentz, but I think a lot of people forget that because of what has happened to Carson Wentz since that, but that season he was playing at an MVP level.
Yep.
And he got injured week 6 or 7, 8, very early on in the season, I think. And
sooner in the season, actually, week 15, like week 15, week 16 was when he tore his ACL, I think.
Was like, yeah, it's a blur looking back that far. I can't even tell you what I had for supper 10 minutes ago. But he was looked at, I remember, as an MVP candidate, and then they lost him and still managed to win. Now here you are. You have an Eagles team with an MVP candidate for a quarterback, a team that has a ton more depth than they did back then on both sides of the ball. I think they are in fantastic shape, and I think that, we'll get to our predictions later. I was about to predict the game, but we're getting to that later. We can't blow the finish in the first 5 minutes.
No, exactly.
That's not good booking.
Yeah,
so, of
keep
course.
the heat, brother. Keep the heat.
Yeah, so let me just play to the crowd a little bit, and I'll just say the Eagles are a very, very good team, much better than they were when they won the Super Bowl.
Yes, this is quite the talented squad. You mentioned with Jalen Hurts, an MVP candidate, somebody that definitely you have to keep an eye on when it comes to his ability to not only throw the ball, but having the second option to run as well. He's a dual threat under center, and I think one of the big things as well that's really helped this team go over the top is the acquisition of A.J. Brown over the offseason. I think it's funny you kind of look back on it because A.J. Brown, of course, former receiver for the Titans. The Jaguars make this pretty insane contract, or at least what was thought of as an insane contract at the time for Christian Kirk, basically resetting the wide receiver market value to the point where the Titans felt they had to trade away A.J. Brown. And we saw, obviously, this past season how that worked out for them in terms of they try and bring in Treylon Burks. Literally, his comp coming out of college was A.J. Brown. And but unfortunately for the Titans, they had that collapse. And lo and behold, the Jaguars, that same team that reset the wide receiver market earlier, they made it to the playoffs and had a decent run at that. And also obviously a benefit for the Eagles being able to take in A.J. Brown, and he's sort of the X factor on that team along with Devonta Smith on the other side. And then you look at the running backs that they have there, really a trio of running backs, obviously the main back being Miles Sanders, but you still have yourself a Kenneth Gainwell, and you have a Boston Scott to sort of hand off the ball as well, to give some different options. And the O-line going in for the Eagles is a little rough, but
this hurts.
I see what you did there. See, we're already bringing the A material to the podcast. But the O-line, it's hurting a little bit, not because of Jalen Hurts under center, but no, it's that could be something to kind of keep an eye on for the Eagles. Defensively, the Eagles have also been able to stack up, and I have to give credit to Howie Roseman, because here's a guy who a couple years ago, I'm doing a Chris Collinsworth here. Here's a guy.
Are you about to? Am I Al Michaels? Are you about to roll in on an office chair? Hello.
Right. Hey everybody.
Are you going to reference Pro Football, or what is he? Pro Football Focus?
Yes.
What's the website he owns?
PFF. Yeah, PFF.
Yeah. He owns that website, and he always references it and never mentions how it's a giant conflict of interest. But
don't they have a partnership? I think PFF and NBC. I feel like there's a partnership there. But
I think so. I think so. But it always amuses me when he mentions that, and there's never a hint of, oh yeah, I literally
I own this
website.
Yeah.
This is me. They do as I say and nothing else.
Exactly. It is a tremendous site, for the record. I enjoy PFF. I know it gets a lot of heat sometimes because sometimes when they analyze some players, they'll say this player, when they do their studies, is better than this player, and then you get some people kind of going like, well, no, that can't be it because this player can't do blah, 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 right? But overall, I think in terms of like analyzing the game and analyzing different players and ranking guys, I enjoy PFF, but
well, thanks to Pro Football Focus, Pat McAfee has something to brag about for the rest of his life. The punter of the decade for the 2010s,
That's right.
Decided on by Pro Football Focus.
Do you think McAfee is actually the punter of the decade, or is it because
century
of the century? Oh wow! So Ray Guy, like not the punter of the century. It's Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
But do you think he kind of got that award because, he's obviously got that radio show now. He's a much more prominent figure in the media, and not to take anything away, he was a tremendous punter. I believe he was an all-pro punter at one point.
Multiple times.
But do you think he's like the punter of the decade because he's just the most recognizable punter in this day and age?
Well, I mean, when you look, I don't have his stats in front of me, but I mean, I remember being a Colts fan. I remember him very well. He was he was what you wanted in terms of a punter. I think that, yes, I think if you look at kickers and punters, they don't often get attention. They only get attention when you are Justin Tucker, and you have a robotic leg that you can get a field goal from no matter where you are on the field, or you get attention when you have a big personality like Pat McAfee. I think of the gentleman, I can't remember his name. He was the punter for the Raiders years ago.
Oh, Shane Leckler.
No, different guy. He was a punter for like 1 or 2 years, and he was just like Pat McAfee, very brash, very cocky, talked.
Marquette King.
There you go. That's the name.
That's the one.
Usually a punter never gets attention unless they're like Marquette King or Pat McAfee, and they are talking trash and having fun. And I remember he would do golf swings for after every good punt. So, yeah, I'm sure there is a little bit of biasness in his Pat McAfee's favorable ranking, but he was a pretty damn good punter.
Oh yeah.
And when you look at the stats and take out the personality from it, I think the stats show that he was maybe not the best every year, but he was consistent. Yes. And when you're a punter, you don't need to have one great year. You need to have, if you're going to have a 10-year career, 10 great years or 10 good years.
Yep. Totally. Yeah, it's just interesting that you brought that up as like...
And actually, you know what? Looking at his Wikipedia page, I just pulled it up. I didn't even realize this. The NFL record, he has it for the highest career net average punt yards, 41.1.
There you go.
In his 6-year career, set an NFL record.
I know he's in the latest round in the Pro Football Hall of Fame to kind of be discussed as a finalist. Obviously, I don't think he eventually moved on, but I know his name ended up in the running somehow. Sorry, I shouldn't say somehow. Obviously, he was
somehow.
I know that was a bad choice of words on my part. My apologies.
Hey.
Yeah. Whoa. Slow down there. Hey, I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee. I love his radio show. I find it very entertaining. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking through now, as you mentioned. First team All-Pro in 2014, a 2-time Pro Bowler in 2014, 2016. It's you mentioned as well, just kind of looking at the net punting yards as well. So, yeah, he was certainly somebody. He certainly made punting entertaining when he was on the field. You mentioned with the golf swings, and he had that one big tackle on the sideline, that one Denver Broncos.
I remember.
Yeah, that Denver Broncos kick returner there, whose name escapes me. But he took that tackle, and it was kind of funny. The Broncos kick returner was trying to be all like, I had this big return, but trying to cover for the fact he just got absolutely blown up by a punter, And McAfee's not a small dude. Like, McAfee's not like the puny, 5'5", 150-pound punter. You know what I mean?
He broke the stereotype.
Yeah,
he looks like he can be a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's built 6'1". Like that. He's 6'1", 233 pounds. That's a big boy.
Big boy.
Yeah, big boy, Pat McAfee. But Nonetheless, we were talking about the Eagles. I want to quickly talk about their defense because the Eagles' defense, you mentioned it earlier, both sides of the ball for the Eagles have been really good this season. And in the case of the Eagles' defense, especially that front defensive line, got some guys with experience there. Brandon Graham returning to a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and you look at other players that they were able to acquire. They acquired that safety from the Saints, giving up a draft pick for him. They got a decent secondary as well in Darius Slay. To me, that's the weakness of this Eagles squad, where the weakness is that their secondary is good to average in some slots, and so I think that'll be an area targeted by the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers to try and establish the passing game early to try and challenge those defensive backs. But overall, you look at this defense, you look at a young Jordan Davis that when healthy, he can really do some damage on the defensive line. Ndamukong Suh is in rotation there. Robert Quinn also in rotation there, and a former Pro Bowler himself. There's a lot of talent on this defense that if the Eagles get things going could make life miserable for one Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, you're forgetting, I don't think you mentioned, might have missed it, Hassan Reddick.
Oh, yes, of course.
That might be one of the most important names of the many important names on that side. And you know, you look at the quarterback matchup, and I think the casual fan, and maybe we're guilty of it too, even the analysts are guilty of it. You always look to the quarterback matchup because those are the two guys that will drive the game, right? No matter whether you like to admit it or not, it's a quarterback league.
Yep.
And I think when you look at Patrick Mahomes, he comes into this game, he still is maybe not dealing with that high ankle sprain that everyone made a huge deal of couple weeks ago, although Patrick Mahomes said, yeah, it wasn't a big deal at all. I just played didn't matter at all, but still is dealing with that. One of the biggest parts of his game is his ability to run around and create space and get away and run if he needs to, but more often than not, just run around and create time for his receivers, usually Travis Kelce, to get open. So when you deal with a high ankle sprain, I don't think I need to explain how that will limit his potential ability to run around. So when you talk about the Eagles and that tenacious defense, that's going to be key, I think, early on, because if you can get a hit or two on him and you really lay a hit in on him, I think that could be an opportunity for them to, if you take him out of the game early, Mahomes, I mean, I think that would be huge, but I think if you're the Eagles, you want to get a pressure on him as quickly and as often as possible, and maybe just sit on his ankle for a few minutes. Once you tackle him to the ground, he's like, "Oh, whoops, I tripped. Oh, sorry, Patrick, I didn't mean to fall on your ankle. My bad. I apologize." Or maybe if you're Ndamukong Suh, just kind of go back to your Detroit days.
Yeah,
a little bit of Albert Hainsworth, just kind of like a little mule kick. Whoops.
Whoops. Didn't see you there, buddy. I was just going to say, are you advocating for Bountygate right now? Is that what you're trying to do with the Eagles and the Chiefs?
Yeah, if Ndamukong Suh, I'll tell you right now, if you're listening, and I know you probably are.
Please don't get me in trouble here.
If you injure Patrick Mahomes, I will give you a brand new 2009 Subaru Forester, blue.
Damn,
it's a beautiful car,
wow.
And it will be all yours. It has it has a few 100,000 kilometers on it, but that's okay. It'll be all yours if you take out Patrick Mahomes.
Interesting. That's sounds similar to a vehicle that I recently acquired. Not the same brand.
I've been told it has vanity plates that say "not horny" on it, but I mean, you could take those off.
No, that is not true. That is absolutely not true. No, I first of all, not a Forester. How dare you, good sir? It's a Subaru.
Thought it was a Forester.
It's an Impreza. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're rally racing.
That's forgot. That's right. I'm a rally racer. That's what I am now. Hey, when I got the Subaru, I'm sure you're aware of this, but there's a big Subaru following. We have of drivers. The amount of times I got messages for those that are not aware, I recently got my first car. And I purchased a Subaru Impreza from 2009 from a local dealership here, and I just told people, hey, I got this new Subaru, and the amount of people that came out of the woodwork saying, welcome to the Subi gang or the Subi club. I felt like all of a sudden I joined a cult.
Do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for the blood sacrifice to officially let me in. But seriously, the amount of people that reached out was like, welcome to the Subi club, everybody. Subarus are fantastic. And Subarus have a good reputation, within the industry. I was super happy with, I still very am happy with the Subaru that I got. But the amount of people that came out of the woodwork to be like, welcome to the club, welcome to the club. Here's your membership card. Here you go. It was quite astounding. It's a big community of Subaru owners.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see which cars have these big groups, right? There are some people that are just nutty about their certain brand of car.
Yeah, the people love their Subaru, man.
Yeah.
I assume you're a car owner, right?
Mazda.
Oh,
Mazda 3.
Oh, Mazda 3. Yeah, Mazdas are good. When I was living in Ottawa, my parents still do drive around a Mazda CX-5. So it's a good. Mazdas are good vehicles, man. They are quality. So how long have you had that Mazda for?
That's a 2012 or 13.
There you go.
I believe it's Japanese, and I think the Japanese cars, they are built very, very well.
Yes,
I believe Honda, Toyota,
yes. Yep.
Mazda, and I think there's a few others Japanese built, and they are fantastic cars because they are built, as it was explained, for the second owner, not the first.
That's right. Yeah, those were a bunch of those models, by the way, that I was told to keep an eye on when I was doing the car search. So you just kind of listed off my my car search history. So as long as we keep it to the car search history that you're looking up, then we're all good. But nonetheless, but yeah, now a proud owner of a Subaru Impreza. Any other quick thoughts on the Eagles? Any other players you wanted to highlight? Any other, whether it be coaches, in terms of Sirianni you want to talk about, or anything else with the Eagles you want to bring up?
Well, I think it will be interesting with the run game because I was going to jump in. Well, you talked about how they do have such an incredible run game. Hurts is the main part of it, but they still have a trio of great running backs. It will be interesting to see how that all goes because I think it's fair to say while the Eagles are a great team and have lots of great depth, I think it's fair to say they have not really been tested in their two playoff games. Yeah. Easy win against the Giants, not necessarily an easy win against the 49ers, but they got lucky in the sense that the 49ers lost not their starting quarterback, but the quarterback with the hot hand. They lost Brock Purdy almost immediately in that game. And at that point, it was game over. They really were on autopilot. Hurts didn't really have to do much. I believe he had 150 total yards or something, I think. So he didn't really have to do much. So this really, barring something crazy happening, barring Patrick Mahomes, fluke hurting himself, this is going to be by far their toughest test. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle that because you have your layoff now between wins because of the Pro Bowl, because you get the week off. On top of that, they had 2 easy wins. On top of that, their last game, they already had the bye because they were a top seed. And then you go back to the last game of the regular season and Hurts got hurt. So again, they weren't playing at full force and they weren't going all out. And also at that point, they had clinched their playoff spot and their top seed. So they had nothing to play for. Yep. So it's been almost over a month of games that either have not meant anything or games that have been easy wins. Yeah. That's tough. When you're about to play a team like Kansas City, who this is now their 3rd Super Bowl in a handful of years. They've won one, they've lost the other. They are the dynasty right now in the league. They are the best team in the league. They have the best player in the league in Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce is not too shabby either. That's a really, really tough task, and we'll have to see how that goes. Zach, you will understand this reference, but not everyone will, so I'll give backstory on it. Our college professor, news professor in radio college, his name was Dan Polanen, and he hated when you said, time will tell.
Yes.
No, time will not tell. You. It is your job to paint the picture and tell them what time will tell. But I truly believe this is a situation where that phrase, as much as Dan Polanen, wherever he is rolling over on his lazy boy couch because he's alive and very well.
Yes,
he's rolling over, or he's getting like he's breaking out in hives right now, or getting a chill down his spine.
Yeah.
I think this time will tell to see how both of these teams react. Because for the Eagles, if you come out and on that first drive, Hurts is throwing dimes to A.J. Brown and the running game is working perfectly. I saw they set a record. They beat the 1962 Packers for most rushing TDs regular season and playoffs.
There you go.
So if that running game and on the first drive is working great, they go down and score right away. They stop Kansas City on defense and they score again. I mean, that's a perfect start. But if you're Kansas City and they come out and punch the Eagles in the mouth and they score right away, what happens there? Because now after having a month and a bit of games that haven't met much or have been easy wins, now you're facing a team in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the year, that is not going to be an easy win. They are not going to roll over like the Giants did, and they're not going to be easy like the 49ers were. That's the test, and that will be, I think, the story when the final whistle blows at the end of the fourth quarter and the Gatorade is poured over the winning coach. I think the storyline will be if the Eagles were able to overcome the rest they had, or if Kansas City took advantage of the fact that the Eagles have not played a competitive game in a month.
I just love you brought up the Dan Polanen, and I have not thought of the time will tell critique that Dan would relay to us young aspiring radio broadcasters. It was that for me, it was that, and also what is the now of the story? Tell me what's the now of the story. Like, I don't want to hear about the past, what happened in the past. What's happening right now with the story? That was drilled and ingrained into me coming out of radio college.
I should say too, because I couldn't find it in my notes, so I just found it. The new rushing record for regular season and postseason, 39. The Eagles had 39 this year. The previous record was 37 by the 62 Green Bay Packers, which is insane to me that no team has beat that since 62, considering that season was short. That certainly was the season back then. Was not as they were not playing as many games as we did now. But crazy to me that record has stood for however many years that is, and only just got broken this year.
Yeah, it's running the classic Vince Lombardi play, the classic running play that Vince Lombardi would do all the time in those old Packers teams.
Wait, I know it. I've heard that clip so many damn times on NFL films. Yeah, I forget what it is, but when you say it, I'll know it. But that's
There's a seal here, and there's a seal here.
Yeah.
Sweep run play.
Yep. The classic.
Yeah.
I think that, though, that to the point, to summarize, I think that will be the story. I think the Eagles' running game, at least on one storyline plot point, that running game, if they can get that, if they're able to get that going, and they're able to get that going early, that will be huge.
100%. That'll be key for the Eagles, and the running game is going to be key. And I think you kind of look at Sirianni as well. Obviously, his second year as a head coach for the Eagles. It'll be interesting to see. Will the pressure of the spotlight kind of be shining bright on Sirianni to the point where he fumbles on a couple of play calls? As a Cowboys fan, I hope for that, but I think Sirianni, not bitter.
Well, remember years ago, Doug Peterson, when they won the Super Bowl, that was his second year.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
There we are.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni, once again, his second year as a coach, and somehow the Eagles love to do this. They're in the Super Bowl. So if on paper you'd think that the Eagles will have a good shot with fate on their side, but who knows?
Yeah,
we'll get to that. Another tease, building heat.
Yeah, exactly. We're building up. We're getting the crowd into it. We're trying to get to the finish. We'll throw in a couple of high spots in there as well, just to keep the crowd invested. But we're working our way through this match. Let's go to the other side then, and let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know there's been always a lot to talk about when it comes to the Chiefs. Some of it, a lot of familiar talking points. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. And that's really all you need to know for the offense when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. No Tyreek Hill this year, doesn't matter. They've been able to adapt, and Travis Kelce, if he wasn't the number one target for Mahomes last year, if you wanted to consider Tyreek Hill the number one target, then obviously this year you'd have to say Travis Kelce is the number one target for the Chiefs. But they were able to supplement and replace Tyreek Hill using the money they didn't spend on him on a new contract to be able to go out and get a Juju Smith-Schuster and a Marquez Valdez-Scantling to kind of fill out that receiver core. They go out in the trade deadline. They get a Kadarius Toney to see if he could get back into a first-round pick form. I will always remember that Kadarius Toney, of course, only had his one only great game for the Giants, and of course it was against the Dallas Cowboys, where he had over 200 receiving yards that game. And I remember watching that thinking, this guy is going to be a stud receiver. And boy, was I wrong on that. But he's still a project that the Kansas City Chiefs took on at the trade deadline, and when healthy, he has been a contributor for the squad. And then also looking on the running back side, they have Isaiah Pacheco, who's been coming into his own, a 7th round pick coming out of the draft. That's been super key for the Chiefs as well. Pacheco has been somebody that I think has supplanted Clyde's Edward-Helaire as the number one running back. No matter what happens in the Super Bowl here into the next season, he's been dynamic for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs offense just keeps on rolling through, and obviously all eyes will be on Patrick Mahomes to win his 2nd Super Bowl heading into this game.
I think it's always interesting, and I hate when people bring this up because I don't think that it means as much as people like to put stock into it, and it's usually just kind of a lazy talking point. But I think when you're talking about the Super Bowl, this is something that matters. It's experience, right? When you look at Kansas City, they are littered with players, Mahomes, Kelce, that have played in Super Bowls, that have won Super Bowls, that know what it's like this whole week, which is different from any other week in that any player will ever experience. From Monday until Sunday, it is nonstop attention. You have media week ongoing as we speak. You have private practices. You are staying in a swanky hotel room surrounded by media and fans nonstop. Wherever you go and look, you are possibly seeing your face on a poster, or you are seeing someone pointing you out and wanting your picture and autograph. It's not something you ever experience. Kansas City has, most of the Eagles team has not, specifically Jalen Hurts, who I believe only a few weeks ago won his first playoff game. Right now you're looking at Mahomes, who's playing in his 3rd Super Bowl. Yeah. So that experience factor, I think, will come into play big time in this game, especially if, the Kansas City is able to get off quickly. And I think that will be highly dependent on one Mr. Mahomes' ankle, and if Travis Kelce is on his game, because in his 2 Super Bowls, it's been, I don't want to say polar opposites, because in the one he did score a touchdown, in the last one against the Bucs he did not, and against the 49ers he did, but other than that touchdown he was held in check. In the game against the Bucs, he went off and went over for over 130 yards, but of course Kansas City got blown out. So it will be interesting to see if they are able, the Eagles, to their secondary, which has been pretty damn good this year, to contain Kelce, what kind of plan they come out with. Because if you are able to take away Kelce, they do have other threats. Juju Smith-Schuster notably being the big acquisition that they intended to help make the loss of Tyreek Hill not be so harsh. But it's fair to say, no offense to anyone not named Travis Kelce, he is the prime target. He is the number 1, 2, and 3 target for Patrick Mahomes, and everyone else is just the other option that if Kelsey isn't open, or if they are just so open that, Mahomes can't say no to it.
Yeah.
So if you are able to take Kelsey away, which I think the Eagles have a good shot at being able to do with that great secondary, I think that's something that will be very difficult for Mahomes. But to counterpoint, to play devil's advocate to myself, you have to imagine Andy Reid is prepared for that, right? Yeah. He's not going into this game thinking, well, Travis Kelce is my number 1. I'm going to force feed it to him every play. He knows what Philly is planning for, just as, I'm sure Philly is imagining what Kansas City is planning for. But I think you have to give Andy Reid, in terms of the battle of coaches, Andy Reid has a there's a wide gap between him and Nick Sirianni as it stands currently. So I think that when it comes to game planning, it will be interesting to see what Andy Reid has drawn up once the whistle blows and the game starts.
Yeah, 100%. And in the case of Reid, he's not going into this Super Bowl without a Super Bowl win. He's got the win under his belt now. He no longer has that sort of distinction for the longest time he had when he was both the Eagles head coach many years ago and then becoming the Chiefs head coach, of a guy who was considered a great head coach, somebody you definitely wanted on your staff but just couldn't win the big one. Now he's able to win the big one, and he could potentially have the opportunity here to really create a Super Bowl dynasty here when it comes to the Chiefs. And obviously he'll be able to scheme up some big plays for this offense. But you mentioned it, all eyes will be on Patrick Mahomes in terms of how his ankle will hold up. He says he's pretty much 90%. If I last checked, he's pretty much close to 100%. As much as he can be, and it's been kind of amazing to watch him be able to go through the playoffs on that bum ankle. But I
don't think he would say, even if he was 0%, I don't think he would ever say it.
100%.
So
100%.
I know you look at what a player says and you always take it with a grain of salt, because especially this week of all weeks, you're not going to say, well, I'm kind of like 36%.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit down now. I'm kind of dealing with a little bit of, things personally. I'm not great.
Yeah.
No, you say I'm great. I'm feeling 100%. I'm good to go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm feeling a 42% now. I'm a little bit of a 45% later on. We'll see. But not that specific when it comes to the percentages, obviously. But
yeah.
That'll be something to keep an eye out on the offensive side of the ball. Not much talked about on the defense for the Chiefs. Pretty solid defense, I'd say. George Karlaftis is a guy that's kind of been blossoming a little bit as a player to kind of look out for on the Chiefs defensive line. Frank Clark's still there. Chris Jones still there, obviously. The big thing as well for the defense for the Chiefs is that they've got a bunch of rookies on the secondary side that they're going to have to rely on. And those rookies have been very good, especially in that Bengals game in the AFC Championship. They've been very good. But it's something that will still be, obviously, Super Bowl is a totally different environment. It's going to be interesting to see how those rookies will do for the Chiefs. But this defense is not a bad defense. This is not a pushover defense that the Eagles will be facing heading into the Super Bowl.
It's important to remember, though, you talk about that secondary, and while, yes, Kansas City's defense has been fantastic, one of the best in the league, as have the Eagles, Kansas City allowed the most passing touchdowns with 33. That's 4 more than I believe it was the Bucs in second with 29. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about now, you have that on one side, plus the fact that you've got a secondary littered with very talented rookies, and they are all going to be obviously playing in their first Super Bowl. So I think that is a matchup, and if you believe that Jalen Hurts' right shoulder is still a little damaged from being injured in December, that could be an interesting matchup and pose an issue for either side, because on one hand you could maybe, if you're Kansas City, you can be playing on the secondary could be playing as if, yes, Jalen Hurts does have an injured shoulder. He can't throw as far, and they're playing a little closer to the line. Well, now you've just given him an opportunity to run around you and just throw it as deep as he can. And there you go. You have a wide open receiver who's going to waltz in for a touchdown. Or you play it if you're the Eagles, and maybe you Hurts, his shoulder is a bit more hurt than he's letting on, and he isn't able to throw that far. He doesn't have he has to rely too much on his running ability and throwing short, and isn't able to get much going because of that solid secondary. So that, I think, will be, for me, that is the most interesting matchup. That Kansas City secondary that is littered with rookies and has allowed the most passing touchdowns, but other than that, that's a pretty big deal, but they have been solid, all things considered. They have been very solid, to put it lightly, despite allowing the most passing touchdowns. That versus Jalen Hurts, an MVP candidate who comes in with, like, maybe not as bad as Mahomes with his high ankle sprain that only happened a couple weeks ago, but still, for a quarterback that relies on their legs and their arm, and for Hurts, his shoulder right now maybe isn't feeling 100%, maybe it's 99%, but even that, I don't think that's ideal for going into a Super Bowl. So that matchup of Hurts versus the Kansas City secondary, I'm going to keep an eye on that. I think that is the most interesting matchup of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just looking at the secondary again for the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie, first-round pick this past year, defensive back. Joshua Williams, fourth-round pick this year, a defensive back as well. Jalen Watson, seventh-round pick this year, also a defensive back. A lot of rookies on the secondary for the Chiefs. But again, they've been really
talented.
Yeah, there's some talented players on there, talented rookies, and they have come through when they've needed to most. And so you definitely can't say that they have faltered when it comes to that. And so that's going to be I don't want to say a weakness, but certainly a part of the Chiefs defense that I think a lot of teams will be keeping an eye on as well. I should mention as well, Carlos Dunlap as well, the slot linebacker for the Chiefs as well in there. He's a solid linebacker as well, and so there's some good players on this defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare against that Eagles offense into the Super Bowl. Before we get to the picks, we're going to save the picks. We're continuing. We're building the heat here, Mr. Reisler. We're just building. We're building. We're not going to make the picks just yet. Instead, I want to make a transition over to prop bets.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we have to talk about some of these prop bets. I am using the DraftKings prop bets results up on my screen over here. And so it's a nice little list of prop bets that they have up there. A lot of people, they love to do the prop bets about, we were talking about it off air, just of what color is the Gatorade going to be? What's this? What's that? And so I've got a list here of at least what DraftKings is offering. Again, no sponsorship or anything like that, but just using it for a reference. And
unless they want to.
Of course. And then, my ears and my email is open. But nonetheless, let's take a look at some of the prop bets they're offering here. And so we'll start off with the coin toss results. Heads or tails, you got a 50-50 chance.
I love this one. Because they always mention it, and it's always just like before the game even starts, before they even kick the ball, touch the ball.
Yeah.
People are already pissed off, right? Because the guy that bet tails and put $50 on tails and it was heads, he's out $50. The game hasn't even started. He's like, this sucks. So that's always the best one because some I'm sure will say that there is skill involved in picking heads or tails or betting heads or tails, but it's a crapshoot. Yeah. It's just what you're feeling that morning. Like, you know what? I'm going to bet heads this morning. There's no skill involved in that like there is in some other aspects of betting. Yeah. The heads and tails bet, it's just total fluke, total luck.
Yeah.
But the best part is that immediately the game hasn't even started and people are already pissed.
Yeah, it sets the tone for the rest of the game for the bettors. Yes. You know what I mean? It sets the tone. It could have a real good night or a real bad night. And so the coin toss results, the first offensive play from scrimmage, will it be a pass or will it be a run? That's another prop bet there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Especially on depending on which team gets the first possession. Because
I was going to say,
if it's the Chiefs, you definitely go pass. But if it's the Eagles, you want to go run. So that coin toss results, that could be something you kind of go back to. You know what I mean? Or whoever, if you pick the Chiefs to get the heads or something like that and they win, then you would absolutely have to then go to the passing option for the first offensive play, one would think.
Or maybe your name is Andy Reid and you know what's going to happen and you just say, forget it. I know what the first play is going to be. I'm going to bet this. Although that would be all what we call insider training.
Yes.
And he would be sent to jail.
Yes. The NFL would suspend him for a year on that. Domestic violence, 4 games, betting on the team a whole year. So
they would just get the hook as he's on the sideline. They would just pull him off the field as the game is ongoing.
That's right.
And that's all.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy, your coach now. What? Wait, what? Hold on. I wasn't ready for this. I was going to be the Colts head coach.
I want a slow motion replay of that, of Andy Reid being hooked. You know what I mean? You know how they have the slow motion impact for a tackle? I want to see the slow motion of the impact when the hook just hits Andy Reid all of a sudden. You know what I mean? The headset starts to fly off. That's what I want to see. Another prop bet here, team to record the first down. Will it be Kansas City or will it be Philadelphia?
Eagles. Has to be the Eagles. I'm saying it now.
Wow.
Also, we haven't even been making our prop bets here. You've been rattling these off. We haven't even been saying it. So, first of all, going back to the first one, I'm saying tails.
Yeah.
I think it tails. I think, what was the next first offensive play?
Yeah, first offensive play from scrimmage.
I think that regardless, whether it's Eagles or Kansas City that gets the ball first, I think it will be a passing play.
Yeah, I'm also picking a passing play. Yeah.
And then what was the one you just said just now? What was the
which team will be the first to record a first down?
Eagles.
I like it. I think I'm also going to pick the Eagles. We're on the same wavelength here. We're
both winning the same amount of money.
Yeah, which is exactly $0.
Yes.
But the other prop bet here, length of the national anthem. That's a classic one. Over 95 seconds, under 95 seconds. That's the over-under that DraftKings is going with.
This one, I need to do a little bit of research here. Who is the anthem singer? Historical anthems, like how long was it last year? How long was it previous years? I need to look at similar anthem singers. Like, for example, if it's a country singer, they sometimes they don't like to put any frills on it. They're just singing it start to finish. But if it's a pop singer, they might put their own flair on it.
Yeah.
Right. So this one needs to have some research before I can give you an answer.
Well, here's the thing. I can tell you who the singer is, and it'll be Chris Stapleton. That will be handling.
Okay. So that helps me here because that's the country singer right now. He is one of the best there is. I'm going to say under.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm taking the under. I think Chris Stapleton, he's a good American boy. He's not going to be doing any high notes or, trying to show off to the crowd. He doesn't need to do that. He's just a good American boy. He will sing it from start to finish, A to Z, under.
There you go. I'm going to go over. They always go over on the anthem. And I get your reasoning. I understand the thought process. Of course, as a football podcast, we want the deep analysis for this sort of stuff. But every year, I always find that they always go at least 2 minutes. At least 2 minutes. And so I think this is a very easy over when it comes to the 95 seconds. So I'm picking the over on that one.
Okay.
But
your loss.
Oh well, yes, I will come in losing exactly $0 again. Of course, this is all for entertainment purposes only. But outcome of the first coach's challenge: will the play stand or will the play be overturned?
I am going to say there will not be a coach's challenge in this game.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I don't know if that means that will be a push bet, meaning that it's you just get your money back, or I don't know if I'd have to do a separate bet. But I don't think there will be coaches' challenges in this game.
Interesting.
How about that?
I like it. I am going to say play overturned as the outcome of the first coach's challenge, and I think that's going to come from Sirianni. I think Sirianni wants to make a statement. I'll even go that far.
That damn Nick Sirianni.
I know. He'll do it for Frank Reich. Don't you worry. He's going to win that Super Bowl for Frank Reich.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's already got a Super Bowl technically, right? He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles team back in 2017, right? So
didn't he win one with Buffalo? Oh wait, no, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Ooh,
Ouch,
yes.
ouch.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah, no,
not.
that didn't happen.
Next prop bet to look at here: team to score on the first drive of the game, Kansas City or Philadelphia.
I need some clarity. So they will score on their first drive or
Yes.
the first drive?
I think it's whoever has the first drive.
So if that team will score,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that there will be no score on the first drive. I think that second drive you will have the score. The team that gets the ball second. So Kansas City, if my bets are correct, will have the ball second. They score. Eagles, who get the ball, I think will get the ball first. They won't.
Gotcha. I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be any touchdown scored on each of the first drive for this one. First team to 10 points will be Kansas City or Philadelphia.
Both teams will not reach 10 points.
Wow.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's crazy.
I was just going to say, whoa. Jesus.
I would literally, if I bet that, I would literally be throwing my money away. That would be the stupidest bet of all time. But could you imagine though, like if we come back here this time next week and actually the game was finished 9-7. Could you imagine? It
was an all-time great Super Bowl.
I think the first team to 10 points will be Philadelphia.
Ooh.
I think while I just said I think Kansas City will score first, I think Philly's going to come back with 2 straight touchdowns on their second and subsequent third drives, and they're going to get to 10 points first.
I like it. I'm picking Kansas City to get the first 10 points. That's my pick.
Yeah, okay.
What's that supposed to mean? I didn't like the inflection of your voice there.
Just acknowledging that that's your pick. Yeah, okay.
No, there's a little bit of a passive aggressiveness there. I didn't really, I don't know. I didn't like that tone you had.
I mean, it's a terrible bet.
There it is. I was waiting.
That's not what I was trying to say.
I was just waiting for that to burst through. Unbelievable. Total yards of the longest field goal will be over 46.5 or under 46.5.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
It is. If it's if Brett Maher was in the Super Bowl, it'd be definitely go the under. But
neither of their kickers are really known for having bombing it with the leg, so to speak. But you said 46.5.
Yes.
Over under 46.5.
Yes.
I think I'll take the over on that. I think the longest field goal, and I'll give you a number. I think the longest field goal will be 48 yards by the Eagles.
Ooh, very nice. Jake Elliott with the 48-yard field goal. You're predicting here.
I think I always remember Jake Elliott years ago. I can't remember how many seasons ago. I want to say it was when he was a rookie. So 3 or 4 years ago when he hit that bomb from 60-plus yards to win it. And that was in his first or second game, and he became a cult hero at that point.
Yes.
So I think we're getting a 48-yarder from Mr. Elliott.
I like it.
And that will be the longest of the game.
Yeah, I'm also going to pick the over on that one. I think the over is going to happen there. Either team will register a safety. Yes or no?
Ooh, no shot. There's no way. Both. Not only are both these offensive lines too good, both these quarterbacks are too intelligent to allow themselves to give up a safety. There's not going to be a Dan Orlovsky moment where they're running at the back of the end zone. There's no shot. Yeah. And I mean, I would even go as far as to say I don't think either team will be starting on offense within the 5 or 10 their own 5 or 10 yard line. So. Yeah. I don't think there's any shot that you will be seeing a safety.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going to say no safety on this one. Team to score the longest touchdown will it be Kansas City or Philadelphia.
I think Kansas City. I think that we're going to see at some point in this game, high ankle sprain aside, and maybe I think this might be something we'll see early in the first quarter. We're going to see Mahomes running around, doing as Patrick Mahomes does. Someone will get open. He's going to bomb it up, and we're going to have. I'm going to put a number on it. 78-yard touchdown from Patrick Mahomes to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, wow.
In the first quarter. I won't give a time, but I will say it's going to happen within the first 10 minutes of the first quarter.
Oh, I like it. You're trying to do the you remember that Mariners call against the Jays, right? Where the guy predicted like, oh, this guy, he's got a 3-1 count. He's going to hit a homer on the second deck, left side. He's going to take a fastball, and I think he got like 8 of the 10 predictions correct. Like he got the 3-1 count. He got the inning correct. He got the pitch correct, I believed. He got the homer, obviously. And it was just short of the second deck, like almost nailed it. Dave Newhouse on the call on that one, legendary Mariners broadcaster.
What I'm doing is being stupid because we're making bets here, and I'm just adding more on top to make it even more difficult for me to actually get the money. I'm not just saying Kansas City will get the longest touchdown. I'm saying Kansas City will get the longest touchdown, 78 yards, Mahomes to Juju Smith-Schuster, first 10 minutes of the first quarter. I'm just adding on and piling on and making it more unlikely that I will win this bet.
I like it. Yeah. Just shooting, throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. I like that method.
But the more I add, the higher the odds are, and the more money I'll get if I'm right. So
that's right.
In a way, I'm intelligent.
Of course,
but I'm not.
That's right. I mean, you said it, not me. I didn't want to say anything, but
you did agree. So hold the phone.
Hey, you know what? That's what you get for saying one of my picks was bad. So take that. That's my retribution.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Hornswoggle.
Hey, whoa. Once again, I am not Hornswoggle, and I do not have not horny on my as my vanity plates on my new vehicle.
Unconfirmed.
Confirmed on
unconfirmed.
No, not unconfirmed. Absolutely.
All right, next prop bet.
Yeah, next prop bet here. Yes or no? Zach McGibbon has not horny as the vanity plates for his new vehicle. No.
Well,
that's not the prop bet.
Wait a second.
Oddly specific. Yeah. No. Total successful field goals over under 3.5.
That's an interesting one. I think it will be under. Yep. I think both these. Actually, no. I'm going to change it now that I've allowed myself to think for an extra second. I'm going to say over.
Oh,
I think both. I was going to say that both these teams' offenses are too high-powered, but as I was about to say that, I realized that both of them are a little banged up. Specifically, as we've talked about, both the quarterbacks. I think what we're going to be seeing, while we will be seeing some high-flying plays, specifically a 78-yard touchdown from Patrick Mahomes to Juju Smith-Schuster within the first 10 minutes of the first quarter, take it to the bank. That's a good bet. I think that we're going to see a lot of drives stalling out once you get past onto the good side of the 50-yard line. So I think we will see a handful of field goals, and I think we're going to see I would take the over on the 3.5.
I like it, but not enough to agree with you. I was going to go under 3.5. I'm assuming extra points are not involved in this. So could you that would really screw me over. But I'm picking the under. I'm going to pick under 3.5 for both squads. I think it'll be limited to I think it'll just hover around that 3.5 when it comes to field goals.
Could we do my favorite prop bet?
Sure.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought you were finishing off.
Oh no, there's a bunch more here. I'm going to list every single one of them if you want.
You might, but so you might be mentioning this one, but I want to get to this one because this is my favorite one.
Okay.
This is the best. This is out of all the prop bets. It's the one that they bet every year, and it's my favorite one. Color of the liquid poured on the winning coach.
Yes.
Orange is at plus 250. Yellow or green at plus 350. Ooh. Clear or water. Plus 500, blue plus 500, red or pink at 550, purple at 900, or if you want to go bold, no Gatorade poured is plus 1600.
Wow.
And the website I'm on has the history here. So since 2001, the color of liquid poured on the winning coach, 5 times it's been orange, 5 times it has not happened at all.
Okay.
4 times it's been blue, 4 times clear, 3 yellow, and 1 purple.
Huh. Purple.
So that's
1 year.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah. With Baltimore, maybe.
That would make sense.
That would I've never thought about it, but I wonder if you are if you coordinate the color with your team's color. So Kansas City red and then Philadelphia would be green.
Right.
But I don't think they ever have. But I would imagine that one purple that has to be Baltimore.
I would think so. I did see a video of when the Rams won the Super Bowl last year. They poured blue Gatorade, and that fit well for them, obviously. So that would make sense.
What's your pick here?
Oh boy.
Or maybe actually, hold on. Maybe we should save the color, this prop bet, for after predictions because it goes hand in hand. Possibly.
I think so.
Possibly. It goes hand in hand depending on what you pick.
Well, I was just going to say you did blow up my spot. I was saving that for the end when it came to the prop bets. So
I blew the spot.
You just blew the spot. Unbelievable. You just had to go. You had to work a crazy spot into the match and try and get something in there, and you botched it. And so now we have to recover. I have to work
Mr.
a
Get
hold.
Your shit in.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Get your shit in.
I have to work a hold.
Get your shit in.
Working a hole, trying to get the crowd back into it. It's like, all right, settle down, kid. Settle down, kid. We're gonna get ourselves back into it. So now we have to. Don't worry, we're gonna get to it. I've saved it for last. Don't worry. Where was I? Now you got me all screwed up. How dare you? Where was I last?
You're definitely not a ring general. You're flustered.
no, I'm quite lost. I'm running around the ring. It's like, just do a move. We'll be back.
Drop kick.
Yeah, drop down, then do a drop kick. Come on. All right. Run the ropes. Just go back and forth. All right, let's. I believe we were at total punts by both teams. Over 6.5, under 6.5.
That has to be an under, right? There's no way.
Under,
Can you imagine if this game turns into a punt fest, or this game turns into turnover after turnover? It's sloppy play. That would just be awful, because I think people are going into this game thinking that it's going to be a shootout, or at the very least, better than it's not going to be a low-scoring game. You hope.
Yes.
You hope that the hope is it's going to be close and a high-scoring game. So I would be shocked if it's more than 6.5. You have to take the under on this.
Yeah, I would also take the under on this as well.
As a fan, I'm taking the under on this. As a bettor, I'm taking the under as well.
Yes, that's the expert analysis here. Here's an interesting one: total players to attempt a pass. Over under 2.5. So you got your quarterbacks, obviously, so that's 2 right there. But will there be like a trick play where maybe a Juju throws the football to Isaiah Pacheco, and then that makes it 3? You hit the over, or are we just sticking with the Hurts and Mahomes combination, or even talking about an injury, God forbid, and then you have to have a backup go in there? That's also could be a factor in this as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that if either team is more likely to have a trick play, come in, have the quarterback toss it to the running back, who then throws it, does the Philly from years ago.
Yeah.
I think that it's likely the Eagles that will be doing it. I don't think Kansas City. I don't think Andy Reid, in his history, he's shown that he's not much for trick plays, although he gets creative with the playbook. I don't think he's shown that he's a big fan of the gadget plays, the trick plays. So I think if we're going to see one that would make it a third player throwing a pass, I think it would be the Eagles, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think you take the under. I think it's 2. You'll get Mahomes, you'll get Hurts throwing a pass, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm also going to pick the under on this as well at 2.5. Either team to miss an extra point, yes or no? Again, if this was with the Cowboys, I would bang on the yes multiple times, but it's the Eagles or the Chiefs. Yes or no? Either team to miss an extra point.
I don't think so. I think that both kickers and kickers have been getting a lot of talk in recent weeks because of Brett Maher and their importance to the team. Whether they are as important as some say they are. I think that being a poor kicker, you are always looked down upon, and I think going into this game, I think they will do their best. Keep their head on straight. I don't think they are going to be on their best behavior. I don't think there's a chance they miss any kicks, let alone an extra point. Yeah,
I agree with you. No, the extra point will not be missed. So no, I will say no to that one. I don't know if I've heard of this before. So At least this terminology being used for this. Obviously, I've seen this play 1,000 times. But will a player score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, also known as an octopus? Yes or no?
An octopus? I didn't realize that was the term for that.
Me neither. I guess I believe they're talking about the same player scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. I guess the octopus because it's 8 points, with the 8 tentacles or whatever.
So are we talking same play, like you score the touchdown and then you score the 2-pointer on the very next play, or are we talking touchdown in first quarter, 2-pointer in the fourth?
I'm assuming it's on the same drive. So I'm assuming it's the same player scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion on the same drive.
Okay. Well, assuming a 2-point conversion is made or attempted, you would imply that the game is pretty close.
Yeah.
So I do think this game will be pretty close, but I will say I don't think you're going to get an octopus. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the likelihood that, for example, you think of a guy like Travis Kelce, who you imagine would be the target for Kansas City, he scores a touchdown. I can't imagine they're going to say, yeah, you know what? Let's leave him a little open on the 2-point conversion here, whatever. Let him, do his thing. Yeah. Obviously, you would blanket the guy that just scored the touchdown, whether it's Kelce or whoever it is, Isaiah Pacheco. Whoever the player is, they're going to blanket him on the next play. So I don't think we're going to see an octopus.
I don't think so either. Although I like the terminology, now I'm just going to keep on with it. An octopus whenever.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah, I never heard that before. This is coming from DraftKings, so I assume it's an official term. Big man touchdown. Any offensive or defensive tackle to score a touchdown in this game, yes or no? Yeah.
And here is the prop bet that I wanted to get to, because this is the one that makes no sense, but I'm doing it because why not? And this is an actual bet I want to place. This is a legitimate bet.
Oh boy.
I think Jason Kelce will be scoring a touchdown.
Oh.
And the bet that I want to place is I think Jason Kelce will score more touchdowns than Travis Kelce.
Wow. Whoa. That is a huge bet.
I think it's going to be 1-0. I mean, like Jason will score 1, Travis will score none. Yeah. But I want to place the bet of Jason will score more than Travis.
Wow.
1-0.
I assume that would be a big. You would win some big cash even if you
betting all my money on it.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. Well, let's not go that far. But yeah, that's quite the bet there, Mr. Reisler. Just for fun, of course. Big man touchdown. I actually think there may be a potential here for a big man touchdown. I think there's a chance, mainly on the Eagles side, because there's big boys on that defensive line.
It'll be interesting too, because Jason Kelce. I think the reason why this prop bet is a thing is because of him and because of maybe he's prominent. And as you point out, they do have some big boys on that offensive line. I wonder if they do a decoy here.
Ooh.
Jason Kelce, there he goes off to the right, but hold on a second. Another big man going off to the left. And he's the guy that gets the ball. You wonder.
Yeah.
Some trickery.
I was thinking more with the Eagles on the defensive side of the ball, trying to maybe get a touchdown. But the offensive side is possible. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Of course. If a lineman picks a guy off and he rumbles back.
Yeah. I think there's a potential there for that. I really do. I think there's a chance on a yes here. So for the sake of this, I'll say yes.
Okay.
I think it's going to be like a 10-yard run back or something like that or whatever. I think we could see a guy like Fletcher Cox or a Jordan Davis bringing one back. I think that would be something to keep an eye on. But it could also lead into this next prop bet here. The shortest touchdown scored over under 1.5 yards.
I think it will be over. I don't think we're going to see any goal line stands. I don't think we're going to see any situations where they're at the 1 yard line trying to punch it in with a run. I think most of the touchdowns will be 10 yards and beyond. I don't think we're going to see much action in there, or 20 yards, I should say, and beyond. I don't think we're going to see much action in the red zone.
I disagree. I am going to say under for 1.5 yards. I think there will be a goal line thing, and it will involve the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's the famous QB sneak that the Eagles have been running this past year where they've gotten some support on the way in for Hurts running into the end zone. I'm going to pick the under on this one. I think Hurts will get a running touchdown at the goal line with their unique play to get the touchdown. I'm going to pick the under.
1.4 yards.
Could you imagine if it ended up being like 1.7 yards? And that's how I'm not able to win this bet that I'm not placing any money on. But nonetheless, the last team to score, Kansas City or Philadelphia?
I think Philadelphia will be the last team to score. I think we're going to be seeing a field goal to finish off. Well, wait a second.
Whoa.
Dude, what did I just say? I think the last score of the game will be from Philadelphia. Another tease. We're building it back up.
I love the tease.
We're
there we
getting
go.
ready.
The crowd is back into it. The heat is building up. Here we go. We got past that Bosch spot earlier. We went down from a 5-star match to like a 4.5-star match, but we're still making our way through.
We're going through it.
Last team to score. I'm going to pick Kansas City. I'm going to pick Kansas City to score. Last play of the game to be a kneel down. Yes or no?
I think it will be. Yes.
I'm going to pick yes for that as well. Total touchdowns over under 6.
Over under 6.
Yeah.
I think that it would be disappointing if it is the under, for sure. 100%. I think that for that reason, as a fan, I'm letting my fan brain take over my intelligent betting brain that I've never used because I've never made a bet in my life. I think that I'm taking the over on 6.5 touchdowns.
I'm also picking the over on this as well. Will the game go to overtime? Yes or no?
No.
No, me neither.
No,
I don't think
no
it's
chance.
Overtime. Only a couple more left here. Total points scored. Will it be odd or will it be even?
Will it be odd or even?
Yeah.
Wow. Now you're making me think of what I think the final score will be. So the total combination of the two teams.
Correct.
The total combination of the two teams, I think it'll be even. I think my final score prediction, and I will get to who I think will be on the winning side in a minute, is 34-28. That equals 62. That, of course, is even. So I'm thinking even.
There you go. I am also going to pick even. MVP. Who will be the Super Bowl MVP? Will it be a quarterback or will it be somebody else?
Oh, I was going to say, are you listing off who is are the betting favorites for who the MVP may or may not be?
No, it's the position. Will it be a quarterback that wins the MVP or will it be somebody else?
I think it will be a quarterback. I think that in any other year, maybe you could see a running back play well. You could see a defensive player. We've seen that in a few times in the past decade or so. A defensive player play great and win the MVP. I think this year, though, with Mahomes and Hurts, it's on them, and I think one of them will be the MVP.
I agree with you. I am going to pick the QB position as well to be the winner of the Super Bowl MVP. And finally, the one you've been waiting for, the color of the Gatorade.
Well, if I am allowed to give my prediction right now, yes. I will, because my prediction lines up precisely with what color I think the Gatorade will be. I think the Gatorade will be green, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles will come out on top 34-28 over Kansas City.
There you go. I am picking red because I am picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win their game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I am picking the Chiefs to win their second Super Bowl on a score of 28-24. And I am going to go Chiefs second Super Bowl in how many years has it been now? 3 years that they've been to the Super Bowl, or at least 3-4 years.
It's been 3 and 4, right? 3 and 4. They won in 20, lost in 21 to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Didn't go last year.
Right.
Now they're there this year.
That's right. So so there you go. So we have combined the prop bet into our predictions. So you are picking the Eagles again. What is that score that you have?
34-28 for the Eagles.
And I am picking the Chiefs to win 28-24 to win that one. And so there you go. I think this is, I think that'll do it for our Super Bowl preview. Do you want to mention anything about commercials you're keeping an eye on? Because obviously some people will be keeping an eye on those Super Bowl commercials.
Well, we forgot about the most important part, the thing that people actually watch the game for, the halftime show.
Oh, of course. Got to talk about Rihanna.
Yeah, of course. I mean, people watch the Super Bowl for the nerds like us watch for the game, but the real men and women watch it for the halftime show.
Yeah, of course.
And the prop bet I was going to mention was, what is the first song that she plays?
Ooh.
And I'll preface this by saying that I saw a gentleman on TikTok who has correct, or at least he says he has correctly predicted the first song in 6 of the last 7 Super Bowls. And essentially he says it all comes down to what song will be instantly recognizable. So last year it was, what was it last year? The Next Episode.
Yes.
Right? That first beat is instantly recognizable if you're a rap fan of the 90s and early 2000s. So in that scenario, what is the most recognizable Rihanna song?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, what to you, what is the most recognizable Rihanna song?
To me, it's Umbrella.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. It would be a recognizable one.
I went with Please Don't Stop the Music, or Don't Stop the Music.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Because that opening section with her singing, I think that's a perfect way to start. I can picture it now of her coming in some theatrical way, whether it's coming up from a lowered set where she comes up through an elevator or she's lowered down. That's a perfect way to intro her because the song isn't too fast, isn't too slow. It's just the right tempo for her to introduce it, and then you do a little bit of that, a little bit of dancing, you go right into Umbrella.
I like it. Okay.
Because that's her best song, easily.
Interesting.
And the other prop bet is whether or not she will have guests. Because Rihanna, of course, the most notable guest she has is Jay-Z. Jay-Z's the person that helped make her career.
Yep.
Drake has been on a few songs. Eminem has been on a few songs with her, notably Monster a few years ago. But actually, I was going to say a few years ago. It's like a decade ago now that song came out. One person that I think could be a dark horse, Kanye West.
Oh,
because
wow, that would be something.
If not for what has happened with him recently,
yes,
my pick for first song would have been All of the Lights.
That's a good.
The Kanye and Rihanna song, because that has a great song because you're starting about how all the lights in your baby, you're turning them on, everything. The spotlight shines down on Rihanna, the spotlight shines down on Kanye. They go into the song. That would be a great way to start, but I don't think there's any shot that Kanye is appearing. Do you? Do you think there's any shot they'd bring him out?
God, no. I'd be stunned if Kanye comes out there. I would be
there's
stunned. No way. Based on the brand integrity of the NFL and the shield, there's no way that Kanye's going out there. But I like the thought process. Those are some good picks. I'm just kind of looking through some of the recognizable Rihanna songs, and Disturbia is another good one. I like that song. I've noticed that I'm going off of the same album, the Good Girl Gone Bad album that Rihanna released in like 2007.
Her best album.
Yeah, that to me is still fantastic. I'm sure Work will somehow get into the rotation as well.
Work.
Yes.
Over and over again.
Absolutely. Maybe S&M. Maybe if if you want to try and increase the subtlety hammer on that song, I guess, because that is also
chains and whips.
Yeah,
do chains and whips excite you, Zach?
I didn't say that for the record. I'm just talking about the song.
Well, me too.
Yeah. Well, what is that supposed to mean?
What the hell?
How did this get here? Pawn to Replay, an earlier song of Rihanna's as well. That's
her first hit.
That's right, an underrated classic. I'm just looking over here. Take a Bow. Remember that one?
That's a bit of a weaker one, though.
Yeah, weaker one, but I'm sure that would get some people fired up.
The nostalgia factor.
Yes, absolutely. Get those people that are like, Yeah, exactly. The nostalgia factor. You know, when you play the old bands from the 2000s, like, I'm sure if somehow, like, let's just say for whatever reason, Rihanna was like, you know what, I'm going to do an ode to the 2000s, and the Killers were able to come out. You know what I mean? For Super Bowl halftime show. I think that would get some people fired up.
Well, it's like I said earlier, if you're Bon Jovi, you aren't playing the new stuff. You play Living on a Prayer. You play Wanted Dead or Alive. You play Bad Medicine.
Yep.
You play the hits. No one wants to hear your new crap.
Exactly. It's all about the new one. It's all about the new hits. Or sorry, all about the old hits, I should say. Yeah. No, there's a couple of songs that they could Shut Up and Drive. I haven't thought about that song forever. Something. Again, from the Good Girl Gone Bad album. A good album. There's some good songs in there. I'm just looking through, but I'm going to pick Umbrella to start off with. I think that'll be.
Don't Stop the Music.
That's also a good one to start as well. I feel like Don't Stop the Music. I obviously, as we were tell from my voice, I'm an expert when it comes to pop music. But I feel like Don't Stop the Music is like something you play in the middle after you fired up the crowd. You know what I mean? You play in the middle. It's like, oh, we're not stopping here. We're continuing on. The party continues to rock is my thought process on Don't Stop the Music.
Well, we will see whose philosophy is correct.
That's right. We'll see if there really is a reason why I'm not allowed to book Super Bowl halftime shows. But
I think there's more reasons than one.
Yes, a couple other reasons than that. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure some people will rave about it. And, all I know, Mathew Reisler, to kind of bring it full circle for our bits that we've done all year. All I know is that this Super Bowl halftime show will be better than Maroon 5's Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh my God,
Maroon 5 stinks.
Man, even if Rihanna came out, flipped off the crowd, and took a shit on the middle of the stage and walked off, that would be better than Maroon 5.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, anything else you wanted to bring up when it came to the Super Bowl? We made our picks. We went through the prop bets. We went through the Super Bowl halftime show. Talked a little bit about commercials, I think. Any commercials that I haven't seen any commercials that have been released yet, because I know some companies like to release their commercials earlier for whatever reason. I feel, which was weird to me, like you bought the ad time, you paid $7 million, I saw, for like the 30-second ad, and you're just going to release it on YouTube for free beforehand. You know, like, makes no sense to me. But
all I know is that I saw this article the other day on Vox, one of my favorite websites. No crypto ads this year.
Yeah.
Good.
There was a lot of crypto ads last year.
Get rid of them. I have no interest in seeing any crypto ads. Get the F off of my TV.
Yeah.
That's all I'm happy about. I did see the one commercial that I'm interested in because I am a big movie musical fan. That comes from my mom. She liked them as well. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites and one of the best is Grease. John Travolta is apparently in a commercial for T-Mobile honoring his Grease co-star Olivia Newton-John, who passed away last year.
Wow.
So that is one I am interested in seeing because John Travolta is one of those celebrities where he's an A-lister, but you don't see a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's very selective with his appearances, public appearances. So the fact that he's popping up to do a T-Mobile ad and honoring his Grease co-star and a movie I love with two people, actors that I love, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I believe Rob Gronkowski as well is going to kick a field goal.
Live apparently.
So that'll be something. So I guess we'll stay tuned for that. Will he make the field goal? Will he not? Imagine all that buildup they did for the last couple of months now, it feels like, for Gronk to kick this field goal, and it ends up just him squibbing it way outside, like just way outside.
They've been hyping this up since the playoffs started.
Yeah.
I think seems like every commercial break in between games has been, hello, I am Rob Gronkowski, and I'm going to be kicking a field goal during the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah, here I am with Adam Vinatieri to help me out. It's the way it goes. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. I just realized as well, as I was just kind of scrolling through on Twitter, apparently the NFL Honor Show is happening tonight.
tonight.
Yeah.
So who's your MVP pick?
Well, it's starting at 9 p.m. So we'll see. But in terms of my MVP pick, let me just pull up because I know they announced the 3 finalists here. So let me just see who is up for MVP. I believe that the winner will be Patrick Mahomes. He's my MVP pick. I think Hurts will be close, but I think Mahomes has just been like Mahomes. We generally know that he's going to be a great player, but I think especially this year he's just shown he's just been consistent. So I'm going to pick Mahomes as the
What
MVP
was unfortunate to Sorry for interrupting.
Oh,
I was going to say, one thing that I found unfortunate this year was that for once we're seeing a non-quarterback who was in the conversation in Justin Jefferson, who I think will be Offensive Player of the Year, not MVP. But it was great to finally see a non-quarterback in the discussion. But it sucked that Justin Jefferson, I feel like if he got to 2,000 receiving yards, if he had more receiving touchdowns, he only had, I think, 8 or 9, maybe 10 on the year. If he had more, I think he has a better shot at winning MVP. As it is, he's just going to be, he is going to be Offensive Player of the Year, not MVP. I think it will be Mahomes. But I was so excited to see the potential of a non-quarterback win MVP for the first time in, how many years has it been? 10, 15 years? It's been a long time. Yeah. And I was so excited about it. Just fell just short. And I hope, Justin Jefferson, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
I hope next year he can come back and he gets that 2K yards. He gets 20 touchdown catches and he wins himself an MVP, because I would love to see a non-quarterback win for once.
Yeah,
because it never happens.
Same here. I'm in the ballpark, same ballpark as you. And Justin Jefferson will win Offensive Player of the Year. I want Micah Parsons to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I think it's going to go to Nick Bosa. Offensive Rookie of the Year. If Chris Olave didn't get hurt, I think he's a lock. So for me, it was between Kenneth Walker and Garrett Wilson, and I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson on this one. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce Gardner. I think that one was pretty easy. Comeback Player of the Year, I'm picking Geno Smith.
Yeah, that's one award I'm most excited for, because I want to see what Geno Smith's speech.
Yes.
I think that's a guy that, he came into the league with so much promise when he was drafted by the Jets. Of every Jets quarterback they draft, he was looked at as if he was going to be the next franchise quarterback, and he didn't become that for many different reasons.
Yep.
He goes to Seattle and joins a team where everyone thought they would be garbage. He thought, Russell Wilson would go to the Broncos and they were the contenders for potentially getting to the conference championship, maybe the Super Bowl. They played horribly. We all know what happened there. Mm-hmm. And Geno Smith plays fantastically. So I love that. I'm so excited to see him, because I think it's a no-doubter. He wins Comeback Player of the Year. Yeah. And I just can't wait for his speech, because I love Geno. I thought didn't get a fair shake in New York. So to see him succeed in Seattle, I love it.
Agreed. And then finally for Coach of the Year for me, it was between Kyle Shanahan and Brian Daboll for me. Doug Peterson was also somebody I considered. But I decided to go with Daboll. I thought in terms of the talent that's on that Giants squad, what he's been able to do to turn that squad around and get them into a playoff spot and win a playoff game. I know it's supposed to look at the regular season, but I think Daboll to me is the Coach of the Year this year. I've been very impressed with he and his coaching staff for that Giants squad. So that's just kind of my ballot there.
I think it's the opposite. I think for Coach of the Year, I have Kyle Shanahan for taking the playoffs out of the question. I think that having to go, you lose your first string quarterback, you lose your second string quarterback, and you're going with Mr. Irrelevant, your third string quarterback, and you still end up doing fantastically. Brock Purdy, while he of course lost in the playoffs, undefeated in the regular season, and maybe even would have been undefeated still, if not for getting injured in the playoffs. If you're able to do that with your third string quarterback, a guy that you picked just because you had to, I think that's pretty impressive. I think Kyle Shanahan, I think he's a shoo-in to be winning Coach of the Year. I would be shocked if it goes to anyone other than him.
There you go. So that's a quick look at the NFL honors as well. We are just going through everything. I love it. I love shows like this, just getting through rapid fire. So that's your Super Bowl picks. That's your prop bet looks for the Super Bowl. We looked at the halftime show, and we've even got NFL honors stuff in there as well. Anything else you want to add, or you want to start to wrap things up?
I'm just excited for the Super Bowl. I think that this is going to be one of, if not the best Super Bowls in the recent memory, certainly the best Super Bowl of the past decade and a half, maybe even 2 decades. I think we're about to see something that I think we're going to see a game that we're going to be remembering for a long time.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. I know I was hearing from some people that it's kind of a boring pick between these two. It's like, oh, it's the 2 best teams, and especially in the case of the Chiefs. But in terms of the skill level, it's certainly what the NFL wants, and I think from a skill perspective, I think we'll definitely see some sparks fly. So I am looking forward to it on that sense. But yeah, it should be an interesting game. It should be a fun one. Looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to the Super Bowl, and just seeing what other people are saying. It's obviously one of the most viewed games, one of the most viewed television spectacles. So looking forward to that as well. And of course, we'll have the full recap of the Super Bowl next week. Should be a fun one there. But Reisler, I appreciate you coming on and talking some Super Bowl preview and prop bets and halftime shows and everything in between with you for this episode. Looking forward to the Super Bowl and talking soon.
I always love coming on. I always love talking football and reminding people that Maroon 5 does indeed suck.
Yes, they suck. They're just a terrible band. Just a
dumpy
band. Yeah, I love doing the different bits with different guests. You and I, we have Maroon 5 sucks. When Daniel Tashro is on, he has a gnome collection, so we talk about his expanding garden gnome collection, and just a whole bunch of different bits that we do. But nonetheless, that's what makes this podcast fun to do. And all that to say, we're going to have one more episode next week in terms of weekly episodes of Gibby's Football Podcast, and then we'll just kind of see where we go from there afterwards. I don't think I'm going to do a weekly coverage of the XFL or the USFL or anything like that.
What?
I know, but
you don't want to cover the weekly editions of the Better Football League. Come on.
I know. I'm really selling myself short here with the XFL. I'll probably cover. I mean, the first week is coming up, so I might cover like the first week. We'll see. But in terms of like weekly episodes of this show, that will not be happening. But there will still be episodes of the show. Don't you worry. I mean, we've got free agency coming up. We're going to have the NFL draft. I'm really excited for our draft coverage coming up. We've got some really talented guys and girls who know their football, especially when it comes to college football. And so I'm looking forward to that. And so I'm looking forward to like mock drafts and analyzing different positions. I've been watching film, Mr. Reisler, in my spare time of some of the different prospects. So I'm excited to share my thoughts on some of the big prospects coming into the NFL combine. I don't know where you are as a college football fan or anything like that, but
I'm not much of a college football guy. I'm not like you. I think we need to give you the nickname, if you're studying tape, the Sheriff. Peyton Manning's old nickname. So yeah. I think that makes you now Zach, the Sheriff Hornswoggle McGibbon.
Oh, geez. You know, I was liking it, and then you had to throw in that additional name in there, and now I don't like it anymore.
Sorry, buddy. You can deal with it in your Subaru Outback Forester.
Impreza. It's an Impreza.
Well, that doesn't Impreza me much.
Oh, boo. I already had to make a bad pun this evening, not on this show, but at a different. I can't have the bad pun be redirected back to me. I can't have that happen.
Well, I lobbed it up for you. You bad pun it back to me, and we're even.
Oh, man. But, yeah, here we are. We're at the finish of the match. I think we got the fans invested, and we delivered a 5-star match. We recovered from that botch earlier and got ourselves back into it. But always fun talking football with you, Reisler. And, yeah, we'll see when it comes to episodes of the show. Later on, I'll definitely probably have you on for a free agency frenzy episode whenever signings are made there, or big trades that are made in the NFL. But it will probably be a bit more sporadic once the Super Bowl goes by, and we'll go from there. But hey, appreciate you coming on the last this past season and coming on and talking some football with me. It's been a lot of fun. And so if this is likely the last episode for you for this season, we'll see, depending on the Super Bowl plans. But if this is, it's been awesome having you on this past season and looking forward to more episodes in the future.
Well, Zach, we are both two white meat baby faces, and as you do at the end of a white meat baby face match, I'll extend my hand to you. You need to be a man. Shake my hand.
Yes, I'll give you a firm handshake.
And then I'm going, as you always do, after you shake a guy's hand in the middle of the squared circle, you raise the guy's hand in the air, you give him a point, and then you powder out, and you let the winner have his moment in the sun as the fireworks of WrestleMania go off, and Zach McGibbon is up on the top turnbuckle.
That's right,
raising his whatever champion. I was trying to think of a funny his European Championship. We were in the main event of WrestleMania fighting for the European title.
That's right. That's what we were fighting over. The Hardcore Championship as well. We could have fought over the 24/7 Championship.
That's funny.
Could you imagine?
The Divas Tag Team Lightweight Championship.
Yes.
Wasn't there some ridiculous title like that in the 60s or 70s? Some Divas Lightweight.
Yes.
Anyway.
There was the DDT
Iron Metal Heavyweight.
Yes, that one.
Yes,
as well.
that one I know. Won by such figures as a table, Ric Flair's book.
Yeah.
And a chair.
And also, I won it too, actually. I technically won it too.
Is this legit? Or are you joking?
Because members of the Squared Circle Reddit community won the title, and I have registered.
Wait, so I have it. That's me too. We both did. Congratulations. We are awesome. We are awesome.
We're both champions.
My favorite one. It was I won't say his name because he's not a good person, but it was a certain mustached wrestler whose character involves him doing things that would not be acceptable in a real world scenario, and unfortunately he thought the opposite of that, which is why he is not named. Correct. But when he was Iron Metal Heavyweight Champion, he went to Hollywood, and this was probably the funniest title change. He went to Vince McMahon's star, filmed a video, and he tapped the star a couple of times, said, "Here's Vince McMahon's Hollywood Walk of Fame star," and by tapping it, he tapped out and lost the title. And Vince McMahon's Hollywood Walk of Fame star was the Iron Metal Heavyweight Champion.
That's right.
And it killed me. That was hilarious. Technically, the bell rang and he tapped out. And there you go. That's how a piece of stone won a wrestling championship.
It's amazing how much that belt fast hands. It was unbelievable, to the point that we can technically call ourselves champions of that belt. So
I'm going to add that to my resume.
See where that gets you.
Hello, CBC. I would like this job as a prominent journalist covering politics because I am a former one-time Iron Metal Heavyweight Championship. Matt, get the kick rocks.
Yeah, get out of here. This is the 5th time you've come to our building this week. Please leave.
We're calling the cops.
Exactly.
The police are on the way.
Yeah, exactly.
You are under arrest.
Yes, please don't. You have a restraining order out on you right now. Please stop.
We've told you to stop calling Peter Mansbridge. You don't. He is not He does not know you or like you.
No, exactly. He specifically said, "Don't allow Mathew Reisler into this building."
He knows my name.
Then you were like, "That's just more reason for me to show up."
He knows who I am. I better come and say hi.
Exactly.
We've got a lunch date.
Give him a hearty handshake.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh man. Nonetheless, thanks for coming on, my friend. It's always a blast
pleasure.
having you on, and it should be a fun Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens next week, and the episodes to come when it comes to Gibby's Football Podcast. But appreciate everybody tuning in, and of course I'll have that link as well for to help out guest co-host of the show in the past, Steve Bunda. I'll put in that GoFundMe link in the description as well to help him out. Until then, we'll see everybody post Super Bowl.